All right, we're going to get started in just a moment. We're trying to get people from TikTok over to YouTube. We've got a couple people on each end. We're going to be talking about the Nathan Millard case over here on YouTube. So we'll get started in just a moment. Make sure to, if you're not already liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Hi, TikTok friends. If you're coming in, come and check us out on YouTube. We are going to be over there. All right. You ready to turn the cameras on YouTube?
I'm ready when you are.
All right. Hello. We're trying something a little bit different today. We've been uploading some videos on YouTube for the past couple of weeks discussing different cases, and we thought we would do it live this time. Why are we doing it live?
Well, trying something new. We're just trying to see what works.
I know that editing these videos are a pain, so we thought we would try to do it live and take out some of the editing parts of this. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about the Nathan Millard case that's been going on since February, mid-February. So for a couple months now, almost 2 months now. So let's jump right into it.
Okay. You want to get started with it? And
yeah,
I'll cover the affidavit.
So we're going to kind of go back. We've got it broken down into background about Nathan, the point where he goes missing, and then after, unfortunately they recover his body. So what do we know about Nathan? Well, let's start off with he is a 42-year-old man. He's a businessman, a construction executive. He lives in Walton County, Georgia, and he has 5 children. And these children are a combination of a previous marriage. He has 2 sons. His current wife, Amber, has 2 sons, so he has 2 stepsons. And then Amber and Nathan, they have a 7-year-old daughter together. And Nathan and Amber, they've been married for about 9 years. And in one of the interviews, Amber stated that Nathan, he's truly a girl dad. Like, he did all of the special dad-daughter things together. I'm thinking tea parties. There he is doing a mask with his daughter. So just all around a girl dad, There is some history that his friends and Amber, they've said that he is a recovering or was a recovering alcoholic. And he had been battling that for a couple of years. I think around the year 2021 was when he came out of recovery. So he was dealing with that. This has been a national story. No matter where you've heard about the Nathan Millard case, and it's still an active, ongoing investigation. So give us some information. What do we know about the area and things?
Well, the case actually takes place in Baton Rouge. So apparently he was going there for work. And once he arrived, they went to the basketball game there. He met the man that he was supposed to meet for the job. They went to the basketball game. They then went to a pub. And then after that, that's where everything gets a little bit sketchy.
So the guy that he was meeting there, I think he was like a client, right?
He was a client.
Nathan was in the construction industry. So I'm not really sure if it's clear or not if they were going to be working on a project together, or if maybe this client was contracting Nathan's company to do some sort of like building construction.
Well, and it's also, I think, important to the case. They were there for this business trip. They went to do this stuff, and, the basketball game, went to the pub, and they were supposed to meet the following morning. So, I'm sorry, my throat's dry and the allergies are crazy.
You are fine. We live in North Carolina. If you know anything about North Carolina, the allergies, the pollen, all of that is just, it's crazy. So it's in the air. So Nathan travels by airplane from Georgia to Baton Rouge, and he is staying downtown at the Courtyard Marriott, right in the center of Baton Rouge. And he meets the colleague on February 22nd. And like Nina said, they went to the LSU basketball game between Vanderbilt and LSU. After that basketball game, from what we've learned, they had dinner together. They went out for drinks. All right, the cat's trying to come in and go live with us. Sorry, you can't go live with us. They met for drinks, and at one point they went to a place called the Penthouse Club, which is like a gentleman's club. You got your mint?
I'm so sorry, y'all. Oh, my goodness.
See, okay, we can add that to the list of should we go live, should we make videos? So right now we've got go live so we don't have to edit.
Right.
Make videos so when we're about to cough our heads off, you guys don't have to listen to it.
I apologize. I'm trying to get it together. I promise. Okay, so according to the affidavit that was released, Millard leaves the Happy Irish Pub a little bit after 10 at the bar. He was meeting with the client and planned to meet the client the following morning at a work site. Now, again, we had discussed the purpose of that was for the whole trip was that they were meeting and doing this stuff.
Now, but at some point while they were at the Irish pub, it's been reported that they refused to serve him any more alcohol. So he was drinking. What that drinking looks like, I don't know.
Right.
We don't know. If you guys know, let us know in the comments why they exactly stopped serving him alcohol.
Now, at this point, he leaves the bar and walks about a mile east to the Greyhound station. And this is in Baton Rouge. And then this is where things get a little weird, I felt like, in the affidavit.
And he left the pub without the client. So Nathan is on his own at this point.
Well, the actions at the bus station, I found a little bit sketchy because we had sort of discussed this a little bit earlier when I was researching this. It was like an employee had offered to help him or to call for help or to get him a ride or something. Because at this point, we know that he's lost his cell phone, apparently, in the track from the bar to the Greyhound station. He does not have his phone.
So, okay, he leaves the pub and the client knows nothing has happened until the next morning. So let's go back to the next morning. Okay. So the next morning they were supposed to meet at the job site at 8:00. And around 9 o'clock, this client, he starts getting alarmed because he hasn't seen him since that night, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So at which point, and this is according to Nathan's wife, he goes to the police station and tells the police. They end up finding out that he did not come back to the hotel room. And through a series of the police looking at surveillance cameras, the police talking to different people that see him, they find out he was at the Greyhound bus station.
Right. And like I said, it was a little bit sketchy because apparently the employee says, well, they had offered to call him a ride or offer some sort of assistance, like something seemed not right.
I think even one of the security guards offered to take him home.
Right.
So to me, thinking, what was he doing at the pub that would make them, refuse to stop serving him?
Right.
He must have not, been threatening if someone that worked there was willing to take him home or back to his hotel.
Right. And also, it wasn't making a lot of sense either because, I didn't really understand what was going on. So he walks from the pub to the Greyhound bus station. He has money. Is there not a bus running? I'm not following. Like, why wouldn't he get on the bus? Why wouldn't he take the call? But then it was also said that he had expressed that he thought someone was following him. And that the instructions that he was given was to just walk straight back to your hotel, because at this point, this is when I guess he realizes or tells the employee that he doesn't have his phone because they can't plug in the coordinates to get him back to the hotel. So they're like, look, you just walk straight down here and you'll end up where you need to be. But obviously he did not.
So did he, I wonder, just thinking like when he left the pub, had a little bit too much to drink, kind of lost his bearings, wasn't sure how to get back to the hotel. Right. Did he go to the bus station to try to get on a bus? Or did he, have so much to drink that he didn't know he was at the bus station? Or...
Well, according to the affidavit, it says an employee offers to help and or give him a ride back to the hotel. Miller tells an employee, I'm looking for something to make him feel better, and leaves the station on foot. Now, whatever that means, I don't know. And again, is this accurate information?
Right.
I hate to question it, but to me, that's a little bit sketchy.
Right. Since it is an ongoing investigation, we really, truly don't know. And I don't know about a Greyhound. Is that something that you can go on the inside city route? Or is that like if I'm going to take a trip across the United States? Greyhound isn't like city transportation, right?
I'm not real sure.
We don't know.
We don't know because we're in a small town and we don't have public transportation. So I don't really know the answer to that question.
I wouldn't think that it would be like city transportation. I would think it would be like if you were going to take a trip, maybe to go back home, maybe to try to get back home or something like that.
Okay. So I've been to New Orleans. Now, there they have public transportation. So I would imagine Baton Rouge would have some sort of public transportation.
Oh, I'm sure, like being...
But I don't know what time that would stop. Right. But at the same time, there's a basketball game going on. There's a lot of activity happening. And one thing that I learned in my trip to New Orleans is at 3 a.m. it's the same as 3 p.m. So is Baton Rouge like that? I don't know.
Are they the city that never sleeps, or is that somewhere else?
I don't know. There's a lot going on in New Orleans. So
right, just in general. So,
yeah. But, okay. So let's get back on track here. He is looking for something to make him feel better, allegedly. Leaves on foot. Now, imagine he's in some sort of state, right? Because obviously they're not serving him any more alcohol for some reason. And he's in some type of state enough to where he supposedly has lost his phone. So I'm thinking he's a little bit intoxicated, perhaps, and that's what's happening. I'm just putting that out there, maybe as a
Right.
possibility. And he, in this state, is going to walk a quarter mile back to under the interstate and meet two people there who introduced him to Perkins. Now, this Perkins.
So how do we know that?
Well, I'm going to assume that maybe this is the information that they got from Perkins once they either were questioning him or they ultimately arrested him and charging him with 4 felonies for everything that happened after this. So I'm assuming that what's in this affidavit is based solely on probably what Perkins is saying to him. So Perkins and Millard head to South Boston. Excuse us, we have a cat issue.
We have a cat trying to get on here again. Hold on. Let's go back. Okay. So the Greyhound bus station.
Yes.
Something that I read, and this was from one of the news reports, was that at the bus station, he said, or it's alleged that he said that someone was following him. Mm-hmm. I believe there was an ATM at the bus station, and he took out, I believe it was $100 from the ATM. I guess they saw him, for us to be able to have read about this in the news, obviously, put it in his wallet. And then he put his debit card, ATM card in his shoe. And he made the comment, if they rob me, they'll only get the cash on me, not the money that's in, not his debit card. So now.
And can we also acknowledge, all right, he's at the bar. They're not going to serve him any more alcohol for whatever reason. Now, his phone is lost for whatever reason, whether it's related to him being maybe perhaps intoxicated or not, we don't know. But he wasn't too intoxicated to realize that was a smart thing to do, to put the debit card,
right
in his boot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he was too intoxicated not to realize things that were going on. So if he felt like someone was following him, I think, that he would be able to tell that. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously got enough going on for him that he's aware of these things. I don't think he's fallen down drunk or anything like that. It doesn't appear that way to me.
Right.
So
he goes missing, and the police are investigating. They're talking to these people at these different places. Mm-hmm. They've got him on camera around the streets that day, things like that. And now he's lost his wallet. So his wallet is lost. And the police come out and they say they do not suspect foul play. He's still missing, right? And this alarmed me during that time. Like, you don't know where he is. Mm-hmm. You've heard all of these, the people at the Greyhound station and several other locations, say he felt like he was being followed. He, stumbling around the streets of Baton Rouge. I don't know how definitively you can say there's no foul play. But anyway, they do. Which that brings us to, and you were talking about Perkins.
Yes.
Let's talk about how we get information about Perkins.
Well, according to the affidavit, Perkins and Millard were spotted heading to South Baton Rouge, which an area they refer to as the Bottoms, which is not an area you would want to hang out in, basically. Surveillance footage captured them at a Circle K gas station about 2.5 miles south of the Greyhound station in the interstate area after 4 a.m. So he is last seen alive on Thursday, February the 23rd, in between the time frame of 4:17 to 4:24. And we know this per the surveillance footage from that convenience store. He would then arrive at I'm assuming it's Perkins' home, which was about 1.5 miles from that store. And then this is where he supposedly, allegedly, accidentally overdosed.
Okay, let's don't go there. Okay, so hold on. How did we get this information? This was after Perkins was arrested, right?
When they were questioning him or had him arrested.
So before that, before we go there,
Okay.
Nathan was actually found dead, right? Deceased.
Yes.
On March the 6th. So he was last seen on February 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
About a little over 2 weeks later, his body was found in an abandoned garage, the 2900 block of a scenic highway in Baton Rouge. And he was wrapped in plastic, and he was wrapped in a rug. And if you look right here in the picture, this is actually the bottom right hand corner is the abandoned garage. And the police left the rug.
They stated actually that they took what they felt they needed for the investigation. But yes, they did.
No. This made me so mad when I saw. Look at that rug. I mean, it's not like you need a semi to haul it out of there. I mean, bag the rug up and let's take it with us. I mean,
okay. Well, okay. There's more to the story though. Let me work down this affidavit timeline.
All right, I'm still on the rug. Keep going.
Well, it's going to tie in, I promise. So, at 11 a.m., Perkins wraps him in a rug. And then he was seen using Millard's credit card at a gas mart. And at this point in the investigation, there were several people who told the detectives that they smelled and observed and or were told of a deceased body of Nathan Millard in the trunk of Perkins' car. Now, we know that he keeps him in the car for 2 to 4 days. He then burns the car, and his home is searched on March the 15th. Upon this search, they find a roll of plastic.
Did you say it was a stolen car?
I didn't see that it was a stolen
It was
car.
A stolen car, too.
I wasn't,
yeah.
I guess if I was going to haul around a dead body, I'd want to steal a car and not use my own.
Right, I wouldn't want to use my car, right?
But he burns the car. They search his home on March 15th, and they find a roll of plastic that they say is consistent with the plastic used to wrap Millard and dispose of him. So you got the link there. Plastic in his house is the same kind of, was consistent with the plastic that they find him in. So the only thing I can think of is maybe they took all of the plastic that he was in, and maybe that's why they didn't take all of the carpeting. You know, if he was wrapped in the plastic first, I guess the plastic would be the most important piece. But I didn't see where they noted that they took any plastic, so I'm not sure.
I would think, that carpet is going to grab DNA. Carpet is going to grab fibers. Carpet's going to grab hair, more so than plastic, where, a strand of hair is just going to roll off of it, right? So to me, that carpet is going to have some evidence to it, right? How was he found in the garage? Like, this garage is described abandoned in the middle of nowhere.
Well, okay. So the area where he was found, you find a body and it's wrapped in plastic. It's wrapped in a rug. And I'm not really following how you can say there's no foul play involved, because clearly he didn't wrap himself in the carpet, in the rug. Someone did that. And I think that's where it needs to come into play, no foul play, but Perkins is now charged with 4 felonies. So if there was no foul play, why is Perkins charged with 4 felonies? And these 4 felonies are unlawful disposal of remains, obstruction of justice, simple criminal damage to property, and failure to seek assistance, which is another point I want to make. I don't feel like it's adding up in this case because there are a few things here. You have Millard here. He's a father of 5. He's a husband. He's on this business trip. The only known thing that you can find in his history is that he had a problem with alcohol at some point. And in the time frame, if you want to reference this, it fits around COVID time. I think a lot of people got depressed, and I think a lot of people that maybe were typically were drinking may have increased drinking during that time. It was a very stressful
There
time.
were a lot of statistics about,
Yes.
People drinking on the job during Zoom. So, I
Right.
think there was a lot, people were depressed during COVID times. So.
Right. And so, and he realized that he had a problem. He sought help for the problem. Now, do I think that he perhaps went on this business trip and was like, hey, the wife's not here, the kids aren't here. Maybe he thought he could handle a beer or two
with a
client or
yeah.
something, and maybe he had a few more than that, and he fell off the wagon, so to speak. But that does not explain how he overdoses on drugs. That makes no sense to me. He's never, that we could find, that we're aware of, that he had any sort of other substance abuse problems.
Right. And, one of his friends came out and said, drug use was not something that was in his past. He had struggled with alcohol, but not drug use.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that this has never happened before and it never would happen again. But typically and generally, when you're dealing with somebody who has had a problem with alcohol and they fall off the wagon, they're not going to OD on drugs that night when they've never had a history of drug abuse to start with. It doesn't make logical sense. And I realize that a lot of these cases, when you look at motives and stuff, don't always make logical sense for why people do things. But, it's concerning that he thought he was followed, and obviously he wasn't a disruption to anyone or he would have been arrested. You know what I mean? Like if he was doing something in the pub or, he was doing stuff weird somewhere else, I'm sure there would have been a police officer around and, they would have done something about that. He's not causing a scene. He's not, it's just not adding up for me, what they're saying here. So they've charged him, Perkins, with these 4 felonies.
So let's go back to real quick. I wrote down a couple of things about Perkins. So the night of all this, remember Nathan took out the $100, put the card in his shoe. There were, I don't know how many, but I would say like maybe 10 different instances where that card was either used to purchase things, used to remove cash, or used to check a balance. There's a mixture of some of those were Nathan, but there's also a mixture that some of those were Perkins using his card to do different things. How do we know this? Because of surveillance footage that exists. So I'm just going to read a couple of notes that I have down right here. Perkins was initially sought after as a person of interest in the case. They wanted to talk to him to get information. But then on March the 20th, he was officially charged. And then he was arrested on March the 23rd for the things that you said, disposal of remains, obstruction of justice, simple criminal damage to property, and failure to seek assistance. Assistance for what? The alleged overdose.
Right. Now, can I just point out for a minute here, there is that Good Samaritan law in Louisiana. So if you are with someone who is suffering from an overdose, you can seek assistance for them and not have to worry about any charges.
Right.
So if you are, let's just say, let me put it in this scope and just go allegedly a lot, but if you're an alleged drug dealer, I would know whether or not the state that I lived in had a Good Samaritan law.
Right.
Okay. So would I not, if I'm with the person and they are suffering from an overdose, why would you not pick up the phone and dial 911 and seek assistance for this person? Why, if you didn't want to do that, why would you not want to put him in the car, drive him to the emergency room, and just drop him at the front door? Like, literally, that's all you got to do. And this would have been done. There would be no speculation. He's trying to seek help for this man, but that's not what he done at all. You mean to tell me you had rather uh, roll a dead body up in plastic in a rug and haul him in your trunk for 2 to 4 days instead of dropping him at the ED? That does not make any sense. And then we also need to add the element of the other people that were involved that they're looking for. And one of those people are, as of a few minutes ago, still currently missing because, as far as I know, she has not been found either. Where is she?
So what Perkins ended up telling the police is that Nathan Millard went to him looking for prostitutes. And there are two that are on police radar. The first one is Tiffany Gildry, and she's 26. She's the one that is right beside Perkins on the screen here, and she has been arrested and is being held in lieu of a bond of $3.75 million. That's a lot.
Really?
That's what it said. To me, that's a lot.
I would think, especially, what are her charges specifically to? Are they charging her with everything that they're charging Perkins with?
I believe it's same things along the same line of disposal of remains, those kinds of things. I need to do some more research into that. But so she has been arrested. Now there is a second prostitute, and her name is, or alleged prostitute, Tabitha Barner, and she is 33. And she has not been seen or heard from since the night of this incident. Police are looking for her. They want to arrest her as well, but nobody's seen or heard from her since this night.
Which is disturbing to me, because if she had the funds to just up and disappear, would she not have sought a better life than the alleged life that she's currently living? So where's she at? What's happening with her? Has she suffered a drug overdose?
It makes you wonder about where she is, her safety. Like, I know she's wanted, and if you're wanted, and you'd probably be hiding, but right. It leaves you to wonder where is she? Is she safe? What has happened to her? So since all of this, Perkins being arrested, one of the prostitutes being arrested, they're looking for the other prostitute, or alleged prostitute, I should say. This week, we finally got the toxicology report back on Nathan. And what the toxicology report revealed was that there was a combination of fentanyl, cocaine, and ethanol, which would be alcohol, right, in his system. And the coroner has officially ruled it an accident, but the coroner, he did a video interview He can, most drug overdoses are ruled an accident, right? But he said that, the law side of the case, they may rule it something else. So that will probably be coming, like what exactly these people are being held, right? What is exactly that going to lead to? Is that going to lead to further charges? What is going to happen with the status of this case?
As of right now, it doesn't really seem like it seems like they're accepting what these people are saying at face value, and maybe that's true. But something's not sitting right with me in this case. I feel like there's more to the story. I'm concerned that he felt like someone was following him. Um, you know, he obviously had intention to make it back to his hotel, and directions were given to him on how to get to the hotel. He didn't make it there. My concern would be, and this is pure speculation on my part, but what if he left trying to make his way back to the hotel? And at this point, whoever that he was concerned that was following him, you know, I guess kidnapped him, I guess you could say, but under some sort of duress, got him into the car. I mean, I think it's strange that it's at this point 11:30 at night. You have a client that you have to meet first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock. You've already been drinking a little bit, and that's not your norm for lately. So you would want to get back to your room. You would want to go to bed so you can meet this client at 8. But instead you end up in a car, supposedly, allegedly looking for prostitutes and drugs when you have no drug history. I don't think that makes sense. Do you think that makes sense?
It doesn't, but I don't know. I've never been in those shoes. I don't know. But to me, on the outside looking in, I don't think it makes sense. I feel like that there's something else, like key pieces that the police may already know that they're continuing to investigate. Was he robbed? Was he kidnapped and then drugged? I believe Perkins' story is he left them at the home. You see the home in the top right-hand corner. He left him at the home with the prostitutes while he went to several stores, made purchases, used the debit card. I don't think that he would, give someone his debit card, even if he was engaging in that, like, take my debit card,
Yeah. And again, doesn't this point to possible motive? Again, if there's a Good Samaritan law, why would you not use the Good Samaritan law? You're not going to get in any trouble. You don't have to ride around with a body in your trunk for a couple days. But he was using the card the whole time.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like he felt that bad. He didn't mind spending his money, and I don't think would it be typical behavior for you to go out looking for an alleged drug dealer, okay? And you hop in his car to go back to his house, and then you just start buying everything for everybody that's in the house? Like, that's not how that normally happens, would you think? Wouldn't you make the purchase and go back to your hotel room? Wouldn't you try and get this guy to take you back to your hotel room? I mean, look at the home. That's the home that they were at. Had you rather hang out there, or had you rather be at the Marriott where he had a room? Right?
Right.
I mean, it's just not adding up for me. I feel like I don't know how you would determine other than, because, Perkins is going to say whatever is going to make him look the best. He's not going to admit to anything. But
right. Nobody, that's not how, criminals, whether they're, unalivers, murderers, or drug dealers, or whatever it might be, you're not going to admit either way. But at the end of the day, we don't know.
Right.
That's why we have our police. But, I think that it's very interesting that the police are still maintaining no foul play.
Well, and I think too, they're saying that it's no foul play because there was, according to the coroner, there was no sign of injury to him, whether it be internally or externally. They could not find, any cuts, bruises, whatever. Like, there was no injuries to
Right.
where they could determine someone had done something to him. But at the same time, wouldn't it make sense that if, again, the substances found that was in his system, did he willingly take these things or was he forced to take these things?
Right.
And we don't know, again, but if that would be a good way. And I'm not even saying even if he was forced, that the intention was to, get him to overdose, because maybe they just wanted his card. I don't know.
Right.
But I definitely think there's more to the story. So I guess we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Definitely so. And from my knowledge, I don't think Nathan's family or wife has said anything, else since. They're still probably trying to process all of the reportings and the information. But at the end of the day, Nathan is or was a father, a husband, to people. And I think this is just one that we are going to have to stay close to the news and see, what other evidence things are provided to us. But this has been one that from the moment I heard about this case, I don't know why, it grabbed me. I think I was messaging you, the man that went missing in, the Georgia man that went missing in Baton Rouge, how someone disappears at the time, disappears,
right,
and now has been found, dead with so many questions, 5 kids and a wife. So yeah, definitely. Any final thoughts? What are you thinking?
Well, I hope that they're able to find a resolution that makes more sense to the family that knew him and loved him, because what they're saying now doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't even make sense to me, and I didn't even know him. I mean, I think there's so much more to the story, and I feel terrible for his wife and his children, because it's almost like they're victim blaming him.
Regardless of what happened,
right,
this family is a victim.
Yes.
Regardless of what has happened, the family is a victim. And I feel like the way it's being portrayed in the media is not the right way to do it, morally speaking. So I'm just thinking about that family.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. And I think there's so much more here. And I hope that they're able to figure it out, because the family deserves answers. If that was my dad, if that was my husband, I would be furious right now.
Right.
With the way that all of it's been handled. They don't deserve to hear the negative allegations that they're raising against him, because it's basically just like trying to slander his name.
Because now, all of it's allegations, because everything that we know about the prostitutes and his intentions or no intentions with them is based on the testimony of Perkins, a drug dealer, right?
Yes, the person who allegedly supplied the drugs and also allegedly did not seek assistance for him when he overdosed on the drugs. So
I think the bails are very high. I think there's something else to this. And I want to know where the second prostitute is, or alleged prostitute, Tabitha. That's interesting too.
yeah, because is she hiding,
Right.
or has
Is
something
she on the
happened to
run,
her?
or something happened to her?
Yeah.
So,
And I don't think if bonds that high, they shouldn't, I wouldn't think, be able to make those bonds. Especially, I would think the women. If we're looking, I don't know.
the bond's that high for a reason.
Right. So I think a lot of this will be really telling when we figure out what's happened with her.
Mm-hmm.
Is she okay? Is she on the run? What is she hiding? Does she know more than the other girl that's already been arrested?
Mm-hmm.
Does she see? Was she more involved? Like, what's going on with
Was
her?
there someone else in this handful of people who were allegedly involved that night that wanted to go to the police, and maybe they didn't get the chance to go to the police?
Right.
Also, something interesting is the client, the construction client. What is his perspective? I did read that he's fully cooperating with the police. He's been in contact with the family. But as far as being in the media, he wants to stay out of the media. And I can understand that for sure.
I can too. I definitely don't blame him, because once he opens that can of worms, they're going to just, why do it if you don't need to?
Right.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's talking with the family, giving them the answers that they need. He's talking to the police. I wouldn't talk to the media either, because I think that's just asking for trouble in his personal life that he ain't gonna want.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, is that it?
I think so.
All right. If you are not already liking this video and subscribing to our channel, please do so. Also, in the comments, let us know about things that you might want us to discuss in the future. We like researching cases, but we also want to research what interests people, right? What interests you guys. So, solved, unsolved, heck, it could be even cases that don't have anything to do with crime. Who knows what kind of case. Let us know in the chat what you guys like, what you want to hear from us. Don't let us know if you don't want to hear from us. That'll kind of beat us down a little bit.
Yeah, put a comment on there and let us know. It'll help the algorithm.
Yeah, and if something's not right, like, let us know, because we want to get better. So if you're like, Brianna, you're squirming in your seat too much, like, let us know, because we don't know. It's hard for me to watch our videos after the fact, because I think I look crazy, y'all. But yeah, let us know. Give us some feedback.
And tell us where you're from. I'd like to know where everybody's from and what they think about the cases that we talk about. And, we'd love to interact with you guys. So,
yeah. All right. Can I get an autograph when we reach that status, Shannon? All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you later, guys.
Thank you.